everyone, my name is James Ross Treacher, or James RT for short, and I'm very excited to welcome you to Growing Web3. Growing Web3 is a podcast which will showcase informal interviews with people from the industry who have helped grow billion-dollar protocols, the top Web3 communities, and leading organizations. My journey into Web3 has started around 6 years ago through learning about Ethereum. I was super obsessed with Ethereum and everything about it back in 2015, 2016. I started to dig in, but it was pretty technical. And to be honest, I was fairly lost. As someone with a traditional marketing and ad agency background, I didn't really know where to start. So essentially, I followed the space for a couple years. And then in 2017, things started to become pretty interesting. Projects started launching on Ethereum and started to see traction, especially around fundraising through this kind of ICO era. So I worked on a few different projects and started to help out. Then through 2017, 2018, there was this kind of, as I mentioned, this bull run in Bitcoin, and more interest started coming to the space. Through 2018, 2019, there was a bear market, which meant that a lot of the interest from the mainstream kind of died off. But there was some really, really cool, interesting things happening, especially within Ethereum community and various other blockchain communities around building Web3 applications. And dApps were kind of one of the main themes. From there, I basically got involved with a lot of DeFi protocols. I made around 20 angel investments into various companies building in the space and started to really get stuck into exploring where this could go. I started a consultancy called Agency 0x, which focused on helping DeFi protocols with a go-to-market strategy. It also did research around users and different kind of metrics that were interesting to these startups. This was then acquired by Hype Partners, where I'm currently managing director. Hype is a pretty awesome organization. It's the largest Web3 focused marketing growth community agency in the space with 130 team members around the globe. And this podcast is really a way for me to interview some of the leaders in the space about their story into Web3 and why it's important, why Web3 is the future, why these communities which are growing, where we should be spending our time and our energy. And I'm super excited for this series because I have some really incredible guests. I have some guests from a range of backgrounds. They have incredible stories to tell. They've helped build billion-dollar protocols. They've helped grow communities which are really changing the way that people work together and coordinate on the internet. And they're also building insane products which are spurring the growth of this new industry. The style of this podcast is going to be fairly conversational. So I'm going to bring guests on and I'm basically going to ask them about themselves. I'm going to ask them about their growth story. I'm going to try and really dig into how and the why the space is important to them and how they've managed to grow or they've managed to learn in growing these companies, these organizations, these protocols, and what that has kind of meant to them and where they see this space going in the future. I think in a way, I'm making this for all the new marketing people, all the new growth people, all the founders, which are just getting into this space or people who are generally interested in how the space works because Web3 is pretty technical. And when it comes to growing this industry, there has to be a base level of knowledge that people acquire. That might be around what is a DAO? What is an NFT? What does metaverse mean? And we'll cover all those topics, but we'll also cover the bigger picture, the meta of this whole industry and why it matters. And I think one thing which is going to come through is how passionate the people are working in this industry about really making an impact with what they're doing. And Web3 as a kind of umbrella term for all this awesome stuff which is happening really is about showing that we're building a new internet, we're building a new way of working. And my aim with this podcast is to be interviewing people who are working at the cutting edge. So my goal is to bring you each week the best people in this industry who are working at the cutting edge, and essentially showcase their knowledge and try and dig into their brain as much as possible and get all that information to share with you. I think it's going to help me too, because a lot of these people are people I admire. I've worked with some of them in the past in various capacities. I probably want to work with most of them in the future. It's also a really nice way for me to keep up with what's happening in this space and really learn from people who are at the cutting edge. I'm super excited to kick off. I have some awesome guests lined up. I'm sure you're going to absolutely love them. And if you have any recommendations for people, guests that you think I should get on the show, then let me know. Please subscribe, and I would love your support throughout the next few months as I go on this journey. Please jump in with me and let's all learn together about how we can grow Web3.